Welcome back to Good Guardian Canine Working Dog. Good Guardian Canine Working Dog, more than just dogs. You're joining me again for the part 2 of 6 parts in the PRESA Canario history, which was done by Frontline PRESA, Robert of Frontline PRESA, interviewing Manuel Curto Jr. He did a 3-part interview, but the parts are quite lengthy, and so as I've stated in the first part, I've divided this into 6 parts, which will run about half an hour long, and so I'll be sharing that with you. Again, take care of your families, take care of your dogs, enjoy the dogs, help those who you can as much as you can. Enjoy the videos, and hope you find them informative. I will see you in the next one.
These times, those were the best times for the PRESA Canario, because at that moment we can see like homogeneous dogs. Also in the 19th, you can find a lot of great looking dogs, but also they were mixing in those times. So that's the thing. And what's the purpose of the PRESA Canario in the Canary Islands? Warding, just warding, because we don't have big animals here to do hunting. We don't have too much robbers also here, so it's more like for the livestock. If somebody wants to take your goat, the dog will attack and everything. But it's not that, because some people say, I'm going to explain what I say when I say the Malinois type of training, okay, that you asked me about this a long time ago. What I mean is that the PRESA Canario is not made to be all-time biting. The importance of the PRESA Canario is his natural guardian instinct. A lot of people, when they train dogs, and they do it in the Malinois way, that is the same as the German Shepherd, dogs get robotized and they work under some instructions. The funny thing of the PRESA Canario is that he can work alone by pure instinct. If a dog is a good dog, he might work. This proof that I made taking the dog from the ear and from the tail and the puppy down screams is for that. He must have the nerve, so if a robber kick the dog, bang! The dog stays there warding, because the main thing that he was selected for is for warding. So we have to see the PRESA Canario, and we have to take in mind as the PRESA Canario as a warding dog, and we have to measure, I don't know if this is the word.
And Curto, real quick, that test that you said with the tail and the ear, when do you guys usually do that test? And with the puppies, do you usually do that?
What age?
Yeah, I'm asking you, what age do you typically do that when you do the ear?
Between the 2-month-old and the 3-month-old. You can also do it on a 5-month-old dog, but the tail is not strong enough for that size. But doing it before the 2 months is not really relevant, because at that age, puppies don't have enough sensibility, and also they don't wait enough to feel pain. But if you do it at the 2-3 months old, they already wake up, because a 1-month-old puppy, he is also all the time sleeping, he don't feel nothing. But at 2-3 months old, they are like start playing, start getting interested in some things. So that's the best age. And it's made, if the dog screams, don't use the dog, because he don't have the necessary nerves. It's not like, okay, look at my dog, look. No, it's not for looking your dog. It's if the dog screams, or if he doesn't scream. If he screams, okay, he will never be a good guardian, and he will never be used for breeding. That's the importance of this, because if the dog screams at that small age, in the future, he will be the same. He will be a very sensible dog. And as I told you, if the robber comes, because the robber is going to rob. Oh, it's a dog. Oh, no. If the robber say, hey, dog, goodbye, and he gives him a stick, most of the dogs will run away. But that dog that you made the test at first when he was 2 months old, he will resist. So you can kick him with the stick and the dog will continue to be there. Okay? And the rover will not pass. That is the important of doing it because you save a lot of time. I mean, when you have a line like us, we have been selecting these years and years and years, and you can do it to any of our dogs and he will not say nothing. But to people that is starting and then want to have a proof about the quality of their dogs for warding purposes, I recommend them to do it because you save a lot of time. You don't have to wait until the puppy is 1 year old or 7 months old, the age you want to start training him. You don't need to wait. If the dog screams, okay, don't use him. He will not work properly.
Where do you see compared to like over the last years the progresses and the steps backwards? Where do you see the breed going now? Like where do you, as from where it used to be to where it has gone to where it's going? Where do you see it going now? Do you see it getting better? Is it slowly declining? And what do we need to do to get the breed to where it needs to be and keep it there?
Okay, I think that now we are in a great moment. Why? The first thing is because we have only PRESA Canario again. Dog Canario disappeared. Okay, we have two very different type of dogs, but we have only PRESA Canario. So PCA now it calls the Dog Canario PRESA Canario. So we won. A lot of people now are putting their eyes in the black dogs. Black dog is like, it's not only because it's black. It means something. When you have a black dog, it means that you always have been supporting the PRESA Canario because one of the biggest differences between the Dog Canario and the PRESA Canario was the black coat. So if you have a black coat, it's like you are saying yes to the PRESA Canario standard, to the traditional PRESA Canario standard. That's one point that is better than 4 years ago in the 2018, that it was only Dog Canario, PRESA Canario, no black. Now people is starting opening the eyes. Why? I think that is because the young people is the one that gets interested in the breed. They want to start breeding. They are the people that also buy dogs. So the old people that created the breed, like also my father all his life, it was like a fighting between other people. It was necessary because someone has to tell the truth. Some problems that people have with my father is like he says the truth, and if someone have to say something to him, okay, tell him, but he will still going to the front. But now those people, they are old, they are retired. My father is 77. Other breeders from here, from the Canary Island, the founders of the Canary Island clubs, they are also 68 years old, 65. All those people is not in the breed anymore. So those problems from the past are not related with people of nowadays. All of that is history. For example, with the Dog Canario, not breeders, no, I will say breeders and owners of nowadays, the PRESA breeders, we have more in common with them than the people that was before us, because we don't have any problem with the Dog Canario young people, because probably they started knowing the breed because the Dog Canario. So they started with that. Is there a problem that they started with the grown breed? No, it's what they had. For example, in Romania, in Montenegro, in Serbia, most of dogs are PCE type of dogs, and their people love the shows and everything. And most of the people that now is getting dogs from me that are from those countries, they started with the Dog Canario. But what they really wanted, that type of dog, a big massive dog, like some people says that it's like a pit bull with steroids, but more familiar. Okay, so that people started. So I think that the breed is continually improving because people have their ears open. They are like, no, 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 no. You come from Irema Curto? No, no. You come from any other kennel? No, no. I don't want to hear you because we are enemies. No, that thing is not happening now. 10 years ago, damn, that thing was crazy. In the forums, everybody fighting. I think that it was great because when you made different teams, it's like the football. When you have the Barcelona and the Madrid, if they are friends, nobody want to see that. But this, you have competition, people will be, okay, I will go with the Barcelona, I will go with the Madrid. But we have to remember that this is not football. This is a breed. If we don't have homogeneous dog, if we don't have a proper focus about the breed will disappear or will get worse like all the other breeds. Because breeds, for example, that nobody's interested in. The Bull Mastiff, nobody cares about the Bull Mastiff because it's not an interesting dog and there is no people trying to talk about the history of the Bull Mastiff. They don't want to defend something on the Bull Mastiff. I think that this only happens in the PRESA Canario and also in the Pit Bulls and in the Kangals now that they are the trend. Pit Bull, no, Pit Bull have a big fan base, but Kangals now, for example, they are like a trend. But let's see in 10 years if they continue like a trend. PRESA Canario have been in a trend for 40 years, 47 years if we start in the beginning. Okay, for 47 years, all time people is getting interested in the PRESA Canario and new people. I think that the most important thing is that when a breed is not interesting for anybody, it disappears. But with the PRESA Canario, that's not happening. And also I feel that people is trying to improve. They want to hear, they want to know about the breed. It's not a usual breed that, okay, yes, nice boxer and nothing more. With the PRESA Canario, people have the necessity of learning more. I feel that. And if you see something crazy, for example, our Instagram accounts, the big breeders, for example, Jen Chandler, your account, Eva Siemska account, Karpat Khan, let's say his name, Karpat Khan also, and all PRESA Canario breeders accounts as bully accounts are ones of the biggest accounts on Instagram. You go to a boxer kennel, you will not see too much followers. So that means that people is not too much interested. The nice thing, and one of the reasons why PRESA Canario is going to a good way is that a lot of new people is getting interested. What's the future of the PRESA Canario? There are two options. One is more probable than the other one. I think that the future is going to be better than nowadays because there are more new breeders that are focused now on the 1989 standard. Yeah, see the conversation that you had the other day. Both the three breeders were talking about the 1989 standard. 5 or 10 years ago, nobody was talking about the 1899 standard. It was like, okay, so it's PRESA Canario. So now breeders have a focus. And I think that the way it will work is something like if people that don't follow the 1989 standard, that is the main focus, is what we need to be focused on. The people that don't breed under that standard get bullied, like, hey, you breed under the PCI standard. That is what happened. You have a Dogo Canario, ha ha ha. Okay, that's a good way to make the breed improve because, okay, it's not 1989 standard. Oh, no, I don't want it. Because the market is the one that says yes or not. Why the Dogo Canario was so famous and a lot of people wanted to buy them? Because they were big, they were impressive, like big size and everything, and the market said, okay, yes to the Dogo Canario. The Dogo Canario is nice. When they start noticing that Dogo Canarios have very bad health, they have, say, sures, they have hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, arterial proportions, they started getting less interested, and what happened? The Dogo Canario disappeared. And all those breeders that were breeding Dogo Canario, now they are like, PRESA Canario. And they have been 20 years breeding under the Dogo Canario label. So I think that this is the thing. The best way to improve the PRESA Canario and that in the future can continue be breeding is be very focused on the traditional standard, and the market will say if it's yes or if it's no. If nobody wants the Dogo Canario and unhealthy dogs, and us, the breeders, try to make of our best effort to produce the best dogs possible, the market will want our dogs. The market will want the healthy dogs, but by instinct, they can work the property. That's what the people will want. So if us, the breeders, produce quality dogs, people will want them, and the market will say yes to the PRESA Canario. And then, let's see. That's the way.
So, so what you're saying is basically, I've seen a couple questions on here. Like this guy said, should all breeders stick to the 1989 standard? Yes, that's true. All breeders should stick to the 1989 standard. Also, I have a few questions that came in. One of them is it true Aruba is responsible for the dramatic change in type in the Arima Curto kennels?
He's one of the old times because that was like 10. I was a kid in those times. No. Let me think a little bit about this question because they are other dogs. Rocky, some of people remember Rocky from the 90s. He was a pure majorero with cropped ears. He had the power of changing line. No, of course. The first generations will look more like that dog. At that time, where we were looking for more size because our line had a lot of majorero, and the problem from the majorero, yes, they give you a lot of drive, they give you a lot of rusticity, warding instinct, but what type of muscle they produce? Skinny, narrow, very narrow. The reason why we used Aruba was used to get more wide head, more wide arms, more wide everything. But the products that we had from Aruba, like Curto, or also, let me find a photos, tell me that dog is not good. Tell me that dog is not a great dog looking as all of our dogs have looked. For example, let me find also people that there is in the chat, see if this is not an epic dog, and he's son of Aruba. Okay, so this is the dog. This is also he is son of Aruba. We have another photo of him. Okay, some people says that our best time was like the Bandit and Bandido times. Tell me that this dog also is not very similar to Bandit and Bandido. The same with Curto, with Chia, all these dogs from this time. Okay, Aruba was different. Obviously, he was different. The same as Iran. Iran is different to the dogs that we usually produce. But the magic of a breeder is with the material that you have to produce a type of dog that you want. Because from our line, it also could appear white, heavy white from previous times. It can appear heavy white. We, as Irema Curto, we have heavy white? No, we don't have heavy white because we try to do a great work in the selection, so all the dogs that we produce are within the standard, are very similar to the previous line that we have. Just imagine, in our line is English Bulldog from Grunion. Any of our dogs looks like an English Bulldog? No, none of them. The Majorero, to clean Majorero is hard because Majorero give you the double, I don't know the name of...
The Duclaw.
Okay, it gives you. Also, the Spanish Mastiff, that is hard to remove because after some generations, it will appear again. And also, like with the hair, when you see a dog that have heavy Majorero, you will know very fast. That changed our line. No, our line is still in the same way, obviously, under the standard, respecting the standard. We have our preferences that now my father says, because my father is the one that is still breathing. He don't talk with anybody, but he's still the all the breathing process. I'm here showing the face, talking in English, because I'm the one from the 6 brothers that we are. I'm the only one that is here on the kennels and that really got interested in the PRESA Canario, but he's still making all the process, and he's the one that that tried to produce, and he's saying that now he's more near to the ideal type of dog that he's wanting to get that when he was 20 years ago, because dogs from 20 years ago, people remember only the epic dogs. They remember Tomas, they remember Johnny, they remember Nestor, that he was my dog. I have a photo of him here. They remember Bandido. But what about the other dogs? How many of those dogs people have seen? We have breed more than 2,000 dogs. It's a lot of dogs. So people only remember, oh yes, I love Tomas. How many Tomas did we have? How many Johnnies did we have? No, it doesn't work in that way. So people think about our dogs from the past that they were epic, and nowadays dogs, not because they have seen Tomas. How many Tomas there existed in the world? One Tomas, one Johnny, one Gray, no more. But nowadays, we have a more homogeneous line, because you see Gaudí, you see Adan, you see Aníbal, you see Goya, you see Ginés, and all of the current dogs that we have, all of them are very similar, white head, white chest, all of them are A grade, free of hip dysplasia, that is super hot. I'm going to... this will be interesting. I have photos from shows in the year 2000. Let me show you the hips of those dogs, the way they sit, and you will see the big problem that it was in the PRESA Canario. I have a lot of photos. Okay, here. In the 90s, and yes, this is between the 1970s and the 2010. So I have a lot of photos here. Let me find.
You and I have talked a month ago in reference to working the dogs, and how, you know, your father's kennel used to work the dogs a lot, and now they don't really show it as much. And I just wanted to explain that to the people as well. Months ago, and you had a conversation, and a lot of people don't know that, you know, over there in the island, it's if you get in trouble.
Yeah, a big problem. Now I'm going to explain people this, because this is interesting. People think that PRESA Canario from Curto, they don't work anymore, but they then see our customer dogs and they see that they work. Okay, let me find this. Okay, I have a lot of photos. Damn. I think that I have some. I have a lot of archives, but I was trying to show you how the dogs in the year 2000, most of them had hip dysplasia. And one of the hardest things to remove is the hip dysplasia, because if a dog is 100% good looking, he fits in the standard, he has the temperament and everything, but he has hip dysplasia, it's over, because you can't breed with that dog, because all the genealogy, all the puppies will get those hips, and that's very difficult to remove, because how many dogs in the history we have seen here in our kennels that they were 100% good looking, but their hips were not great. Any other breeder will use them. That's the reason why most of the PCA dogs are dysplasic. Us not. Why they are dysplasic? Because in the shows, they don't say that you can't compete if the dog have dysplasia. If he have dysplasia and he can walk, let's do it. But in a working breed, not a working with a functional breed like the PRESA Canario, like the PRESA Canario breeds, we use them for several things. If the dog have dysplasia, also if it's a C grade, I don't know the comparison there in the United States with the OFA and the pain hip, but a C is a medium grade of hip dysplasia. With a C, your dog could not be running properly behind a hog, a wild hog. If he is going to hand, and a joint will go out. So we can't breed with dogs that are not A grade. So that's the reason why it's very important to select with proper PRESA CANARIO. And nowadays in our line, all these males that I told you are A grade, full mouth with big teeth. That is very important for biting. Awesome hair, the proportion, very nice zygomatic arch, very nice masseters, the temporal maskers, the position of the ear. So I think that now, as my father says, we are more near to the ideal dog than what we were 20 years ago. But now, because now on Instagram, you can see all our puppies every day. You can see them. You can see photos and some video for adult dogs. You can see them. You can see more dogs than what people used to see in the past. Everything is marketing. Obviously, you will not show your ugly dogs. That is what happened in the 90s. What photos they took my father to the nicest dogs. But in proportion, now we have more good-looking dogs, or great-looking dogs, than what we had in the past. But the thing is also that a lot of people is nostalgic because they started 20 years ago, and the dogs that they remember were the ones of 20 years ago when they were young, they were energetic, with 20 kilos less. So they remember the great times, and they also remember that the dogs that they had when they were 20 years old was those type of Irema Curtos. But now we are more near to the ideal type of dog we are looking for. And Aruba was one of the pieces that we used it, because Aruba, if you see a photo, he's not that good looking dog. In the head, there's something strange, but my father is a professional breeder. He has a breeding plan. He don't take one dog, another dog from different kennels and boom, magic. No, he have his line. He know what is he doing, and if he take the risk to introduce a new dog, it's because it have a purpose. If, for example, this is for all the breeders. If you have a skinny female with great temperament, you need a skinny male with great temperament. No, because the result that you will get will be more skinny and with more temperament. You need to compensate that. If you have a skinny female with great temperament, you need also with great temperament male, but always mind stable. Not those crazy dogs that always barking and biting, because that is dangerous. PRESA CANARIO is made to be with kids, to be in a house, to protect a big area, also to hunt boars and everything, but they need to be stable. Not these crazy dogs that some people there is breeding, that is like, that's not a PRESA CANARIO, because they don't look like PRESA CANARIO, and they also don't have the mind of a PRESA CANARIO. PRESA CANARIO is not barking every day. PRESA CANARIO need to be stable. They need to be waiting to something to happen, and that's the way. So yes, any dog, you need to clean. You use one dog, you clean. And what you get is what you produce. Because any breeder, you get one dog and another dog. Those dogs are yours. I mean, yes, of course, you bought them, but you didn't breed them. The product that you get, and then in the next generation, that keeper that you keep with the other keeper that you keep it will produce your dog, your line. You have now the parents are from your line and from your selection, and now the grandsons are from your selection. And now you can start talking about your line, and you can say, okay, I have this. The same with our dogs. Yes, of course, you can see ugly dogs in our lines, obviously. But the dogs that we currently have are those dogs. No, why? Because the selection. This happens a lot with the white marks. We produce a lot of dogs like Chio second, with Chia, with a lot of white marks. Our current dogs have those genetics, but they are not white.
Manuel, listen, I just got a notification that says we have 2 minutes remaining. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get off the live, save it, and then I'll get right back on.
Okay, okay. No problem.
All right.